Okay, I'd like to call the August 4th, 2020 bid board meeting to order. Have acknowledgement of a quorum. Like to thank everybody for attending, and also hope everybody is being safe and being successful in their businesses, because it's a really difficult time right now. First item of business is the financial report. Jay, would you like to give us an update?
I would. You have it in your packet. If you did look at it.
Actually, I got approval of minutes. I'm looking around. I'm trying to do this too fast.
You're good.
Let's do approval of minutes from May 5th. It's been so long. I haven't done a meeting in a while.
Second.
I'm having a difficult time hearing people in the room.
Motion to approve.
You gotta turn your thing green.
It wasn't turning on before, sorry. Got it.
We had them off before the meeting, so should be good to go.
Got it. Now again, motion to approve.
Another second.
Can you hear us now, Mike?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Okay, next item, financial report.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes.
Excellent. The financial packet is up on our screens here, and it's before you on your computer screen. If you guys are at home seeing it, we did update it yesterday. So if you looked at it earlier in the week, we made some up-to-date modifications. I'll just walk through it because it's been a while since you've looked at one of these as well. A few months anyhow. The budget, $106,000 for 2020. You can see I added a little interest. The undesignated fund balance is listed for you, and then the total minus the encumbrances for the year. So the total might grow a little bit from the undesignated fund balance if we don't use all of our expenses in 2020. Then going through the actual expense account for 2020, audit is pretty self-explanatory. The administrative miscellaneous costs are the DO program that you guys went through earlier in the year. Some marketing for that. And then marketing of downtown, the $3,800 is reflective of the P-bid, the lease at the Centrum building, and the 1/3 payment of the Discover Media Works for the Discover Wisconsin video. So that's the bulk of that $3,800. And then the $17,000, is the marketing plan that you contracted with Community TV earlier in the year, and you're going to have a report on that from Jess coming up later. Going on through lights and decorations, that $3,700 reflects Public Works removal of lights and some purchase for storage boxes from the additional lights that they needed to store for 2020 from the new lights and equipment that was installed in the Old Settler Park area. Electricity costs, again, are self-explanatory. They're tracking halfway through the year, appropriately so. Transfer to other funds, the $35,000 is the donation made to the City Riverwalk project. Thank you very much, bid board, for that action. There was $35,000 taken in 2019 as well, as per your action and donation, and then that would leave a balance of $55,000 to make up the entire commitment of the 125. If that $55,000 is something that we look to try to budget for in 2021, that commitment would be satisfied, and you guys can have that conversation in September. But just a heads up that there is $55,000 remaining on the commitment for the Riverwalk from the bid. The transfer to TIF 9, the bridge surety, that $4,900 reflects the fourth of 5 payments to remove the bridge to nowhere. That fifth payment would be just over $5,000, and again, planned for budgeting in 2021 to complete that payment cycle. Contingency has not been tapped to date, so the 10,000 remains intact. Landscaping, you can see what's been spent to date, and then the encumbrance. Of that encumbrance, it's probably all not going to be spent. There has been some savings in the roots and branches area, especially because of some changes this year and just being a strange year. We did have a suggestion to have the bid board consider some fall mums. Probably can beautify the planters and work through roots and branches to get that done. That's something that, Mike, it's your call whether you want to entertain consideration of. If that decision's made, it probably should be made sooner than later to let the people know that get the work done. But just spitball estimates of $800 to $1,000 to get the planters all full of mums and looking cool for the fall season, but something to consider. I think the last item, Fund for Future Projects, went down a little bit from the initial budget because we added $3,000 to the marketing. So took $3,000 off of that once you approve the $17,000 to increase that item up to $20,000 and reduce this one down to $6,000. If there are any questions, I can attempt to answer them.
This is Peggy
Thanks,
J.
Jay.
I just have a question on the transfer to other funds. If that was for the Riverwalk project, why isn't it actually specified as Riverwalk project rather than other funds?
No reason, Peggy. It certainly could be in parentheses Riverwalk. We can do a better job of that in 2021, listing Riverwalk on the budget versus it just saying transfer to other funds.
I just think it would look better to people who are just looking at that, because other funds could be misconstrued as whatever. And if they know it's going towards the Riverwalk, which is a good thing, then I just think it should be specified.
Sounds good, Mike. When we get together to talk budget, we can.
The question I have is, we had that in the budget, and I know that we approved 125,000. I believe it was 125,000 going over. Did we ever do an approval of that 35,000 actually going to the bridge or to the Riverwalk? I'm sorry. I don't think that was ever formally done. I think that was put in the budget, but there was never a discussion of formally moving that in addition to the 125.
So it's not in addition to the 125, it's helping to come up to the 125 payment. You paid 2019, 35,000, 2020, 35,000, and then the remaining potential payment of 55,000 in 2021.
Okay. So then what is our future project fund balance?
Well,
Because it was at 200 and something, and I thought the 125 came out of that.
so if you look up top at the first little section, it shows undesignated fund balance at 155. That would be your undesignated fund balance to date. The 35, at least for 2020's payment, is coming out of your annual operating, so you did not have to dip into the fund balance to make that payment. So the fund balance would stay at 155. If you made a $55,000 payment in 2021, I mean, just looking at raw numbers, and continue to take 35 out of operating, you might have to dip into undesignated fund balance to the tune of 20,000 to make that final payment of the 125, which would leave you 135 in undesignated for the future.
Okay, so my memory must be wrong, but I thought we were over the 200 mark for our undesignated fund balance. I'll have to look back in my notes of previous balances.
You might be
I don't
remembering.
know if anybody else
Before
remembers that, or if
last
that's
year's
just me
35.
being crazy here.
I recall that being above 200 too, Mike.
And you guys have been gracious, so that's that's certainly possible. You did donate 50,000 to the Riverwalk East Side project, and now 125,000 to the Riverwalk West Side. So that's certainly possible that you were over 200 at one point, and with those donations have dipped down to 155.
Okay, and it could have been just that it wasn't coming out and wasn't showing that it was coming out. Okay. I'll look, if we could maybe look at that just as a verification so that we definitely have a audit trail of where we were at before we gave the money to the east and then where we're at today. I think that would be helpful. And I also agree with Peggy that it should be listed as for the Riverwalk and not just transfer to other accounts, so that in the future, if we ever look back at this, we totally understand where the money went.
Sounds good.
Any other comments or discussion on the financial report? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Next item. Roots and Branches Business Beautification Award announcement by Mike Faulkner. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for attending.
So stand where you were, Jess?
Yep.
Okay.
He'll be able to hear you.
Okay. Good morning. I'd just like to take a couple minutes to talk to everyone in here. My name is Mike Faulkner, and I'm representing Roots and Branches. I'm on the board for Roots and Branches, and my topic this morning is the Business Beautification Award for the city. Between the mayor and Jessica and I, we've been working on a few things to try to change that, how it runs this year from in the past. In the past, it was pretty much just a staff directive of people would drive around a little bit, check some things, talk to some people, and then we would get some nominations, and at our annual garden party, we announced, a winner as such, or the 5 nominations, or the 5 finalists, I should say. We're trying to do a little bit different this year because we're not having the garden party, first of all, and that's going to be a virtual online event. But I took the Business Beautification Award over along with the Mayor's Beautification Award, which I also chair, which is the residential part of this award. So what we're looking for from the business community is Jessica sent out an email with just an announcement about how this is hoping to work this year. So what we're hoping to accomplish here is between the businesses or departments in the city or whoever to either nominate businesses that you think look really nice or have made improvements. All the directions and qualifications and things are in the newsletter that was sent out to you, or it would be on our Roots and Branches website. And we're hoping really to get nominations from the business community this year, rather than just sort of helter-skelter driving around and checking out places. So if you have a place that looks nice near you, or if you want to just nominate your own business, aldermen, people, businesses in your district perhaps, or anyone can do nominations, but we're hoping to be able to work off of nominations this year. And the deadline for nominations is August 14th. The website is listed on the email that Jess sent out. And any questions, there's a number for our office that you can call to check out your questions or comments. And we hope then to finalize how this will work based on how our nominations go. So it's brand new this year. It's something we're trying to do differently, and we're just going to see how it goes. And we're hoping to get a lot of support from businesses, because there sure are a lot of businesses around town that really are looking very nice. And then the Mayor's Beautification Award will be announced with a little reception at the October 5th City Council meeting, and we hope to do the same thing for the Business Beautification Award. All right, so that's that's my spiel, and I hope that on August 14th, we have a number of nominations come in, and any questions, please call that number. And I really appreciate your time this morning, so thank you.
Mike,
Hey, Mike.
Yep.
First off, thank you, and for those in the room that aren't aware of it, but Shirley retired, and unfortunately, it kind of went unnoticed because of everything that's been going on. But from the bid perspective and from a business owner downtown, I really, really appreciate everything that she has done over the past years and Roots and Branches and getting all of this put together for the community. It's just been a fabulous thing. And if you have an opportunity and see her, if you could please thank her, I would greatly appreciate it.
I will, thank you. Yes, Shirley did a great job. She was here for 14 years, and I know was very involved with the Downtown Association and the bid board, and I think the downtown looks just great. And she certainly has a lot to do with that, and we appreciate that as well. And thank you for all that you guys have done down there too. Thank you, Mike.
Okay, any other comments from anybody? If not, we can move on to the introduction of the new executive director of the History Center. Jay, are you going to do that, or?
he's on his way to the podium right
Come up
now.
and talk to us.
We'll let him self-introduce.
Thanks for everyone's time this morning. Let me come here and introduce myself. My name is Steve Stuckey. I'm the new executive director of the former History Center, now rebranded the Tower Heritage Center, in the old courthouse building in West Bend here. You all know that. So I'm the new kid in town. I started here June 1st. It's been a fun ride so far. I most recently came from Virginia. Specifically, I was working at George Washington's Mount Vernon Estate. I was the head of the building preservation there, and I learned of this opportunity to come here and work with this organization as we are transitioning away from the county to a private nonprofit historical association. So I came here and I'm looking forward to working and learning everything that you all do. And I also heard that there has been discussion about a historic district potentially forming, and I would like to offer any of my services, experiences, assistance that I can provide and while you guys navigate that discussion. Thank you.
Welcome. Item 4, Riverwalk timeline discussion. I'm assuming Mike is in the room and he's going to bring us up to date.
Good morning, Mike, and everyone else.
Morning.
Yeah, quick timeline for the Riverwalk construction. Right now, we are looking at starting work September 1st of this year. September 1st, we'll have city staff downtown along the Riverwalk. We will be removing all the trees from the north pedestrian bridge down to Veterans Avenue. We will be removing the walk lights, pavers, the cantilever walk from behind the movie theater. All the general demolition we're going to get done ahead of We Energies. It'll also include removal of some of the asphalt like behind Sal's Pizza, and then working south, Mike, towards your facility there, removing some of the pavers, things like that, getting everything ready for We Energies. The areas where we remove pavers, like the drive lanes and parking areas, pavers or asphalt, we will backfill those areas with gravel. It's not going to be aesthetically very pleasing, but still functional for businesses and renters and things like that to get in there. We Energies is looking at getting started in mid to late September of this year with all of their work. There's going to be obviously some challenges for them to, the tight space and things like that along the river. But we've met with them numerous times about getting things done down there. When We Energies does get in there to do their work, they're going to be installing obviously all the electrical items. They're also going to be installing conduit for AT&T and Charter Communication at the same time. So basically, We Energies is going to do the heavy lifting, get all the conduit and all those things in there. And then once they are done, the other two utility companies can come in and do their work. Later this month, August, we will be sending out a notice to bring everyone up to speed as to what they might be seeing in the next couple of weeks. Also, we have a long email list with the Downtown Business Association and the different businesses and individuals. We will be sending out email updates so people can have a pretty decent idea on what's going on. In those updates, we will also have contact information for the utility companies. So if someone has a question about electrical hookup or something with We Energies, they don't have to call the 1-800 number, wait for 20 minutes before they can talk to someone, all that. We will be giving everyone an individual with each one of the companies, We Energies, AT&T, and Charter. We're going to be giving you their phone number and their email address so you can contact them directly. We're not trying to pass the buck or anything, but if someone has an issue with AT&T, they call me or Cindy here at City Hall. We're not going to be able to answer that. We're not AT&T. We're not We Energies. We're not one of the utility companies. So part of our work with the utilities is to get those contact folks. So if there is a question or a concern, there's a human being they can call and contact or email, whatever it might be. So our goal during this process, we have several goals, but one is really to keep an open line of communication with all the business owners, everyone we've met and worked with in the last 6 to 12 months. Everyone's been really great to work with, and everyone's enthusiasm level is certainly up. So again, September 1st to get staff in there to start the demo. Mid to late September, We Energies will be in. After We Energies, it'll be Charter and AT&T. And then we are looking at Phase 2 construction starting next year. Phase 2, again, will be from the north pedestrian bridge south down to Veterans Avenue. The new river walls, the stairs going down into the river, and all that fun stuff, all the exciting stuff. So the utility work this fall, is it going to be that exciting? It's a start. It's a start to a large project. It's a start. I think it's exciting. I know it's only utility work, but I think it's really exciting because this is a project that's been out there and waiting, and we're going to get it done. We're going to make it happen. So we're pretty excited about that. During the winter months, I can tell you the Riverwalk, as you see it under right now, obviously will not be there. A lot of it will be gravel and things like that. We will try and make as much of it as we can usable, functional. The south pedestrian bridge, we're going to have gravel on the west side there, so people can still gain access and things like that. But again, November through March, if we don't have frost in the ground, that gravel is going to be a little soft, maybe a little muddy. So we're just going to ask everyone to kind of be as patient as we can, hoping some of what we see throughout this fall and winter is just progress leading into next year's construction. So with that being said, Mike, that's a quick update on the timeline.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mike or any of the city staff that's there?
Mike, can you let them know how long?
I guess not. Thanks for all the efforts and everything you guys have been putting in back there. I know it's been a challenge.
Hey, Mike, hang on one second. What was that, Cindy?
6 months, We Energies is saying.
Oh, yeah, timeline for utility installation is about 6 months. So if they start in September, they could go into, obviously early next year. So there's going to be some disruptions and things like that, but I think the disruptions kind of lead to success, so. So you're going to have some activity back there for the next couple of months. I'm looking forward to it.
So I don't know if they're going to be working through December, but I would hope that they would not have disruptions during the holiday period for businesses, because that is a really critical time for everybody. And with the way everything is going right now, it would just be, I think, devastating if we would be cutting off power to people's businesses during the most important time of the year.
Mike, I think everyone in this room probably agrees. The discussions we had with We Energies, basically when they do the new hookup to anyone's business, the property owner will be aware of it. We have expressed our needs and concerns as loud as we can to reduce those interruptions, but you're not going to be at work and the power is going to go out. They will notify everyone before that happens. They will give everyone a timeline. They will be on site doing their work. So If and/or when there is a short power outage as they're hooking up the new service, the property owner should be aware of it, days in advance, things like that. So we have expressed to all the utility companies, communication is going to be vital during this entire process.
Okay. Okay, if there's no other questions, we can move on to item 5, which I think, Mike, you're a part of anyway, so you might as well stay there, which is the discussion and technically it doesn't say decision on here, so I'm not sure where we go with that on the dog waste stations in downtown and on the Riverwalk.
Mike, I'm just going to jump in. This is Jay, to give the bid board a quick memory recall of when this was last discussed. It was February 4th, actually 6 months exactly to the day, since we're talking about it again. At that time, when you had dog station discussion and decision on the agenda, there's a note in the minutes that states Brian Culligan suggested potential up to 12 waste stations throughout the downtown. Decision on waste station funding to be made at a future bid board meeting, hopefully today, after being presented with a final list of options and all-in costs, both of which I believe we're prepared to share with you today. Thanks.
Mike, you want me to keep going?
Okay. Yeah, you might as well. I see you have your map up there,
Yep.
so that would be good.
Okay, again, like Jay said, this goes back to February of this year. I generated this map actually February 9th of this year, I believe, is the save date on my computer. Again, we weren't looking at, flooding downtown with doggy bag stations. I think the bid board discussed it back in January, February, and they didn't want doggy waste stations. They didn't want the waste containers with the bag station. So I will try and do my best and say doggy bag stations, not waste stations. There's plenty of trash receptacles downtown that if a dog walker has some dog waste, they can put it in a general trash receptacle. Those trash receptacles are emptied twice during the summer, and then during the off season or winter season, it's once a week. So the dog waste is not going to sit in trash receptacles for weeks or months or anything else like that. So the board did discuss, and I think they all agreed on doggy bag stations. So on the map, the yellow dots are just kind of key access points into coming into downtown, or if you are downtown, such as the one at the northern tip of Old Settlers Park or Vest Pocket Park, obviously you can have, a bag station available there. On the far south end of Veterans Park, again, that's kind of an access point into downtown or onto the Riverwalk on the west side. And then obviously the two along Veterans Avenue are right by the bridges. They're kind of access points again. If you're going to park going to downtown with your dog, if you're going to walk the Eisenbahn or anything else like that, those are kind of key areas. So the yellow ones we are looking at possibly installing now, the red ones something in the future. So with that being said, the dog bag stations that we were looking at, I think, okay, I'm working through this here, Mike, hang on. All right, come on. There. The dog bag stations that we were looking at, or the dog bag stations are they're going to be black with a black and white sign, something really basic, something to kind of match the existing amenities in the downtown. The benches are black, the trash receptacles are black, the recycling bins are black. We were to continue with that color. In general, when you're looking at a site amenity like this, you get green or black are pretty much your common colors. We chose the black ones again just to continue with that, with the site amenities, the colors, things like that. That scheme, that carries on to the Eisenbahn Trail, and that section also with our black benches. If we order 6 stations, we would actually get a discount. For 6 stations, we are looking at $1,096. I don't know if that includes shipping, but I would assume that would be somewhat minimal. And then we are looking at 8 cases of bags for $632. Each order for those cases is 2,000 bags. So we would have 16,000 bags for $632. How long will 16,000 bags last? I have no idea. I don't. I can tell you out at the dog park, they go through tens of thousands of bags a year. They do. They order them by groups of 10,000.
8. You said 6.
Oh, I'm sorry, 8.
8 stations is
Eight.
1,096.
8 stations, I'm sorry, 8 stations and then 8 cases of bags, so I apologize. So I'm only reading English here in front of me, so. So that's what we would be looking at right now. And again, if we order less than 5 stations, the cost would go up. The eight number gives us a little discount, things like that. So, so again, for the 8 stations, it'd be $1,096. For the 8 cases of bags, it'd be $632. Total of $1,728. Again, that would be 16,000 bags. I would assume that would last us a while. So that's what we got.
So can you go back to the map?
Sure. Give me 1 second.
So I realize the red ones are future. The only issue that I see is the one north of Washington Street. That's technically not in the bid.
Okay.
So I don't know that we can, I don't know where that fine line is, but the bid stops at Washington Street.
Sure. No, that's a good point, Mike. And again, this was just, I was looking at just kind of key areas. Right now, if we go with the yellow dots, we only need 5 stations, but if we order the 8, great. I kind of assume that you and the board would maybe want alternative locations. I don't know if you'd want one over by the 7th and Hickory parking lot or something like that. So again, this map is just something I did at my desk, and it's just a starting point for discussion. So moving dots around or anything else like that will certainly not hurt my feelings.
Well, and I think also that, I'm fine with ordering the 8. I think the pieces along the west side of the river, it's really going to come down to, once that's in, figuring out exactly where they go. So if you have the 3 extra, I don't think that's a big issue. And also looking at how they're put in, looks like it's a signpost basically, so they could easily be moved if we find that they're not in the right place anyway.
That is correct.
So does anybody have any questions or thoughts on what's proposed here?
Mike, this is Jay.
Everybody's quiet today.
Before the bid board maybe takes action, I would just suggest that if you're looking for a location to fund these from your budget, I would suggest the Fund for Future Projects, which has $6,110 available in it as of today.
So if there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Enough
Any
of a
further
motion?
discussion?
Okay.
Mike, just to clarify,
All in favor?
you're voting for 8 of them, correct?
Yeah.
Justice noted that his motion was for 8 stations and the 8 cases of bags.
Thank you.
I'll second
All in
that.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm getting a delay, so I'm assuming it was unanimous.
Yes.
Yes, it was, Mike.
Okay. So, all right, we'll let you get that taken care of, and let's put them in, and we can always, like I said, I think it's easy to move them if we have to. So, thanks for getting this finalized and moving forward. I appreciate it.
Nope, big thanks to you and the bid board. We appreciate it.
So, item 6, Jess, a marketing campaign plan phase 2 update.
All right. So this request came from Peggy to walk through this update that I sent out earlier in July, since it was just sent through email, and I'm happy to do so. Our campaign continues to run right now as we speak. And it has been running since just days after your May meeting, when you voted to move ahead. So, so far, we have produced 2 videos. The first one, if you remember, was more like curbside at your door delivery and bringing that charm of downtown right to your door wherever it might be. So the second phase, we went downtown and sort of took a look at the summer, highlighted some of the beautiful colors and things that one might see if they plan a night or a weekend trip over to West Bend. So the marketing campaign expanded the audience and reach a little bit because in May, people weren't really going as far at that moment with the pandemic. And so once things opened up a little bit, so did our campaign. Would you like to watch it again, the video? We don't have to. I'm sure you've all seen it, but there is a link, so I can send this out if you'd like to watch it again. But just some highlights. So we wanted to feature the Riverwalk and the downtown businesses. So we did some aerial shots of both. The Riverwalk happened to have kayakers going down it at the time, and just there's been so much activity. So I think it's really inviting for people to come and do all of the things like shop and do business, outdoor exercise, bicycling. We got a family on bicycles going down Main Street as well. So just the video turned out, in my opinion, really well. The response on our digital platforms has been strong. Don't know if you've recently seen any of the ads in your news feeds, but the comments are, I'm kind of addicted to checking in on them and seeing what people are saying. There have been a number of people taking their friends saying, we better check that out, or asking where the salmon was from, and asking questions about what's open, what's it like. So we've been able to have real dialogue with people from throughout the region, which I think has been probably one of the greatest wins of this campaign. So in June, we did do an email out to our phase 1 leads that we generated through Facebook. So we had over 100, and I now have another 150 to add that have opted in to learn more about visiting downtown. So I plan to send an email out later this week that's different than this, that will hit all 350, almost 400 people. Let's see. So scrolling down, and you've all seen this, but the public hasn't necessarily, or the rest of the bid. These are some of the latest metrics for June 1st to July 7th, which is the phase 2 report at that time. Phase 2 is still running. We're actually now we were planning to do some videography this week for phase 3, but now with the mask mandate, we're kind of looking at adjusting some of the visuals and really thinking through what does that look like? What does it look like to get us through October? So our plan is to do another video that's more of like a night on the town, invite people in for the fall, catch a show at the theater, get dinner out, some of the cool sites that a lot of people may not see if they've only come for the farmer's market or morning activities or something. So we're trying to give a full view. In addition to doing that new video, we can also be running the others as well. So we can continue to build upon their success while also offering this new footage. I also have a meeting today with Travel Wisconsin to talk about a partnership in getting our message out even further now. So like we had presented in May, we plan to do email with Travel Wisconsin along with maybe some of their social channels. Our ads are also running on the Google Ad Network and on YouTube. There's been an excellent reaction there. Let's see. I'll scroll down to see some of the metrics. But people are watching our ads for West Bend on their TVs, their phones, their tablets. I think all the data is really interesting. And it really helps us prove the value of this campaign, but I really think outside of just the data, the legitimate questions and conversations we're having with people on social media about this and about what's happening in West Bend right now, what's available, has been so positive. So I guess that's an update right now. I'm planning to send another report when phase 2 is sort of over, I guess, as you would say, which would probably be mid-August when we have our new video live, and then we'll have them all kind of running simultaneously. And we may even incorporate the first video back in, depending, so.
Jess, how do you go from reach to impressions to frequency, and how does that correlate? I don't know anything
Sure.
about.
So reach is the amount of people who actually met the ad or saw it. So that's the unique reach. So 79,000 people were exposed to this campaign from June 1st to July 7th. So I'm able to track that through all of the places where we're putting these ads. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google. They all give me the same metrics in that way, which is really helpful. So impressions is the amount of times that they saw the ads. So they were able to see it, multiple times. So 230,000 impressions. So they saw it many times.
Okay.
A few.
All right.
The leads are the people that opted into a form that we created on Facebook. So they saw one of our videos or they saw some of the display ads. So we have a number of image assets that are running too with text. And I can show you those if you'd like. We have about 20 different ones. And people would click on the ad to learn more. And they provide us with their name, their email, and kind of what they're interested in. So I had a little checkbox on, are they interested in doing business downtown? Are they interested in finance? Are they interested in events, restaurants, all of the above? Which I think will be really helpful for us to use as we move forward and targeting them with other specific messages. But right now we're pulling them all into a database and sending really beautiful HTML emails to them that highlights everything we have going on, and it really matches the campaign. So they're not getting it and being surprised at what it is. They're seeing it. We're putting everything out there.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or suggestions? Happy to take them.
I do have a suggestion.
Sure.
We just invested in dog bag stations.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of businesses downtown that are dog friendly. I think somehow we should, with the Parks Department, approving dogs in the parks, especially the downtown area and all of that, I think we should do something, even if it's, an ad or something on Facebook that just lists the dog-friendly businesses, and I'm not sure how we determine who those all are.
So maybe that's something.
Mine is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a lot of dogs coming in my store, and a lot of people that are surprised that we let dogs in our store. But I think it would be kind of an interesting thing to do, because around here, you get out west, and every store you go into as a shop dog, you come here, it's kind of rare, and people are kind of surprised that people allow the dogs in the store. So I think it would be good if we could do something with that as well.
I agree. I mean, I think we can get some of those visuals going even within this campaign. And John Elke, our community television producer, and I have discussed producing a video once those are up. And we've had other pet-friendly events like in Barton. There's a lot of opportunities for people to enjoy having their dogs around town. So we think, putting a video together and putting it out there on social media would help drive that message. All right, thank you.
Any other comments? Thanks for doing that, Jess. It was, I know you sent it out to everybody, but I just wanted to make sure that it was out there for everybody to see and not just the big board. So thanks for putting this together so everybody can see it.
You're welcome. I also plan after this meeting to send out an email to all of our PBID contacts That's, will include a little bit of this, but also other items discussed today on the agenda, along with the Business Beautification Award email that Mike was talking about. So, thank you.
So next item is discussion and kind of an update on where we're at with the historic district.
Jess, I think you can hang out as
Sure.
well.
I don't
Mike,
know,
I'll
Jay,
introduce.
Are you prepared to do that, or is there somebody else going to do this?
Yep, we're going to tag team it. I just want to give the bid another memory check of when we talked about this last. It was, clicking through the minutes, surprisingly, August 12th of 2019. We had a special meeting here at the council in chambers at night, 6 p.m. Dinah, our SHPO, State Historic Preservation Officer. Took me a bit to figure out that acronym when I heard people referring to SHPOs, and Steve, I think the first time I met him, mentioned the local SHPO, and I was taken aback, but get it now. Dinah was here. She presented what you have included in your packet again today, so that PowerPoint is hers from back then. And again, just to recall what went down that night after her presentation, I'll look through and just share with you what were in the minutes. Next steps were outlined, what it would take for the downtown West Bend Historic District, and have a preliminary map. So next steps are outlined for what it would take to have a West Bend Historic District, and a preliminary map of what the district might look like was presented. So Dinah, after walking through our downtown a few times, put together a preliminary map, which was included, is included in the packet that you have before you and up on the screen. And then we talked about having a public informational meeting for the entire bid, and that I still think is the next step. We did have this presented to council as well, so the city council's aware of the potential move to a downtown historic district, and we're supportive of taking that next step. I think what we're looking to do is move this ball forward and not just talk about it, but get it done. So we can talk through maybe what the latest is. The State Historic Society had some change, and Dinah is now in charge, and Jess has been in contact with her most recently, so I'll let her give any update that she might have. But just know that city staff is committed to assisting the bid and the city council in getting this done.
Well, I mean, great summary, Jay. I don't have a whole lot more to add. I mean, just that the next step really is getting feedback from the property owners. And she also even mentioned just going a little bit door to door, chatting with people, explaining what it is, and then, bringing them all together so that they feel confident that we have a majority buy-in before we invest in the historic district nomination. So we have to get nominated to become a historic district, and it does cost between $10,000 to $15,000 to work with a professional advisor who does this work. And they strongly recommend using one of their advisors because it is really kind of a complicated process. So I believe they've talked about that before.
We did, and we talked about informally and with no formal agreement between the bid or the city or anything like that, but we have had conversations, and since this August date, we have a new mayor and a significantly changed council, so there probably is a need to do some further education, as Jess mentioned, but starting with that public informational meeting, and I would say that if the bid has any concerns about doing that during this environment, that the city and Jess and her communications team have proven that can work digitally. We did a really relatively large public informational meeting for our near landfill area, the Villa Park area, and had 200-ish people on that night, and even asking questions by way of text and phone, and having us being able to answer them live. So I think we can still hold the public informational meeting during this strange time and continue to move that forward. But note that the city and bid, Mike, I guess I'm putting you on the spot, but that we've had informal conversations about splitting that cost of the, let's just say $15,000, because that's probably, if 10 to 15 is the number, fast forward a couple of years, it's probably going to be in that 15,000 range. And again, the recommendation from, I think, everybody at the State Historical Society was to have the public informational meeting before you spend the 15 grand, just in case you uncover a stone of opposition that we aren't anticipating at this time. And then maybe lastly, I would say that Steve, during his introduction today, has experience in this area and has offered to be of assistance as well, which is something new that we haven't had in the past from our historical society. So we're excited about that potential partnership as well.
Jay, what information is going out to the building owners and business owners prior to the public information hearing, or whatever you call that? Because it would be nice to be armed with a little information before, so we could ask some questions. I mean, how does this affect remodeling? How does this affect, property values, taxes? I mean, there's a lot of issues that I don't know anything about, and I'd certainly like to be armed with a little information.
So I would say, so the presentation itself, we can include some FAQs that they have available to us to share with what does it mean to have a historical society, and that FAQ is kind of answered in the PowerPoint itself. What the city would need ordinance-wise and regulation-wise, what it means to a prospective resident. I think those are, or a prospective building owner and business owner downtown. Those are kind of questions that might be in their minds before the public informational meeting. So I agree with you, Larry, as far as getting information in their hands and attached to the public informational meeting notice would be the most helpful, and for the bid to be able to answer those questions as people come to you as local experts of what's going on. They expect you to know in advance as well, so you can help answer questions individually, as can staff.
Do we have a timeline on this?
I think that's kind of what we're hoping, assuming there's still energy to do this from the bid. We're hoping to set that timeline. It doesn't have to be today, but we can, if that's possible, or put it on the agenda for the September meeting to set the date of the public informational meeting.
I don't have a problem with waiting until September. It's
Yeah,
not going to
just
happen
so-
overnight anyhow.
So you have an idea of the full project timeline. They indicated it takes approximately 6 to 9 months to put on the agenda for their team to review a nomination. So the fastest, if we had an information meeting tomorrow, would be about a year. So we're looking at about a year out from whenever our public information session is, from start to finish, which is fine.
Thank you.
And if my memory serves me, there's more up than down for this to do it from a building perspective. And it doesn't really hinder what somebody can do with their building. But there's a lot of benefit if they want to do any updates or anything to their buildings from a tax perspective.
Is this not going out to Chestnut?
Not within this map.
Doesn't look like it.
It doesn't go out to Chestnut?
Looks like it ends at Walnut.
Wouldn't we want the,
Tower Heritage Center.
yeah, wouldn't we want that in there?
One would think.
So this is Dinah's first crack at the map, and she did share that there is some art and science in the brief conversations that we've had, and I'll say some level of negotiation as well.
So I think that may be why.
That would be my only, I think it needs to be expanded, but.
So that is an adjustable border?
Within reason. I don't want to give the impression that the bid board gets to draw the border.
Sure.
The
But it's not set
SHPO
in
gets to
stone.
draw the
Right.
border, but is willing to take some influencers.
And there can be individual properties that are historically
Correct.
designated as well.
Correct.
Like the Tower Heritage Center.
So does anybody want to make a motion to move this forward? I don't know. Well, actually, we can't. We're just in a discussion point, but I think we put a lot of energy into it up to this point. I think we'd be foolish not to continue with, unless somebody is really adamantly opposed. I assume the current council, because there's some people on the council now that weren't on the council when we talked to them before, but I assume the current council opinion of this would be that they'd want to proceed as well. I think that's really a critical point, that they're also on board with it, and not just us.
Can we put that on the September meeting agenda and get some more information before we, jump into this?
Yeah, what if we agreed by consensus to put it on the September agenda, and then in between now and September, staff will work with Steve and the SHPO office to come up with that messaging that you suggested, Larry, and so we're able to present to you what we'll be affording to the members of the bid
That'd be great.
in advance, and then
I
set
think
the
that's a
date.
great
So we'll
idea.
put set public informational meeting date on the September agenda and go from there. And Mike, just so you know, the mayor's in attendance and is nodding that we need to have concurrence from the council that they're still on board, and that's something that we can work towards between now and September as well.
Okay. Perfect. Then the last thing is just agenda items for the next meeting, and I would like to just kind of sneak in real quickly with kind of under the roots and branches thing, so that we can keep this legit. If we could ask the businesses that have the trash receptacles in front of their business to maybe get some water and clean them. Adam and I had talked about that being one of the topics of cleaning in spring, and we never got there, but they're looking pretty messy. So if we could maybe just encourage people to kind of help out with that, that would be great. And then the next big agenda item for the next meeting is going to be the operating plan and discussion, and myself and Jay will do like we have in the past. We'll put together a proposal and then bring it to the bid board for further discussion. So that's one item. Anything else anybody wants added to the agenda?
Do we need to add the discussion regarding the mums you mentioned? Or is that something we can do now?
I think you can do it now. If you wait till September, it might be pushing the limits of getting the best mums.
And you said it was less than 1,000 for?
That's a spitball estimate.
100 maybe,
But,
not to exceed, or,
yep.
Can I enter a motion that we just do that?
I'd second that.
Mike, are you tracking that discussion?
What do we, I didn't hear what he asked for.
When we get you remote, the bid board likes to make motions on things that, I'm just teasing. It's the mum conversation regarding roots and branches. You brought it up technically, so there was a motion and a second made to move forward with the mums in the downtown planters, yet this fall, not for a number not to exceed $1,000 out of the previously authorized roots and branches monies.
Can we just do that without this being on the agenda, or you just put it underneath? You're saying we bring back item 2 and put it under that?
So you're not spending additional money. You've already authorized the roots and branches money. You would just be by consensus or by motion directing them to place mums in their baskets for the fall. I would think it has to be on the agenda
okay, but
separately if it
everybody
was
else
a
is.
new money, but it's not new money. It's already authorized money.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. If nobody else has any objections, that's fine. That's fine.
Is there anything that we need to do with regards to Christmas decorations, looking ahead just a little bit? Or is that all taken care of?
Yeah, no, that needs to be on the next item, our next agenda as well, Brian.
Duly noted for the next agenda for September. You do have a motion on the floor, Mike, a motion and a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we gotta go back to the motion. We don't have a second, though. Do we have a second for it?
We do.
Second.
So we do have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mum's the word.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other agenda items?
No, you did say, Mike, that we will discuss the Christmas stuff on the September agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. If anybody has anything, just get it to either myself or Jay, and we'll get it on the agenda. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Mike, thanks all.
Have a good, safe August.